You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Well, let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 20th day of July, 2017. Today our heart's a little heavy, and our prayers are with Senator John McCain and his family. I'm sure most of you have heard the news that came out yesterday. Senator McCain has brain cancer. The official announcement came out from his office yesterday. It says on Friday, July 14th, Senator McCain underwent a procedure to remove a blood clot from above his left eye at the Mayo Clinic here in Phoenix. Subsequent tissue pathology revealed that a primary brain tumor known as glioblastoma was associated with the blood clot. McCain and his family are reviewing treatment options, which could include a combination of chemotherapy and radiation. Before the tumor was discovered, the senator's office had suggested the blood clot procedure might keep him off the job for a week, but the Cancer diagnosis and forthcoming treatment could sideline Senator McCain indefinitely. The American Brain Tumor Association notes that this type of cancer is usually highly malignant and that the cells reproduce quickly, and they are supported by a large network of blood vessels. Well, I do know that one of my favorite preachers, Matt Chandler, from the Village Church in Denton, Texas, he had inoperable malignant brain cancer, and he preached his way through the whole thing, and today he's cancer free. He went through the chemo, he went through the radiation. You can see videos of him on the internet talking about it, with hair, without hair, with hair again. And he was the guy that wasn't supposed to have something like that happen. He ran, he jogged, he ate the granola bars, you know what I mean? He lived a very healthy lifestyle. But Senator McCain, of course, in 2008, he was the Republican presidential nominee. He's a 6-term Republican senator, a decorated Navy pilot, and he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam for 5.5 years at the Hanoi Hilton. In a statement on Twitter, his daughter Megan said, "My love for my father is boundless, and like any daughter, I cannot and do not wish to be in a world without him. I have faith that those days remain far away." President Trump issued his statement. Senator John McCain has always been a fighter. Melania and I send our thoughts and prayers to Senator McCain, Cindy, and their entire family. Get well soon. And President Obama, cancer doesn't know what it's up against. Give it hell, John. He called the senator an American hero and one of the bravest fighters he has ever known. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell called McCain a hero to our conference and a hero to our country. He's never shied from a fight, and I know he will face this challenge with the same extraordinary courage that has characterized his life. So, by all means, whether you agree with his politics or not, it's not important. Keep Senator McCain and his family in your prayers. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the numbers around the world. Now, these are the cash markets, not the futures. We'll get into the futures here in a bit. Cash markets here in the U.S., the Dow currently down 45 points. NASDAQ up 5.5. S&P 500 is at the flat line, and the Russell 2000 is down a little over 1.25 points. No movers, no shakers, mixed markets. NASDAQ and S&P green. The S&P green just by 0.02, and the Dow and the Russell in the red. In the commodity basket, crude oil is down 31 cents, trading 46.81 last, and gold up $3.60, trading 1245.60 last. In the Asian markets, the Nikkei closed the session up 123 points, a little over 0.5%. Shanghai closed the session up 14 points, almost 0.5%. And the Hang Seng closed the session up 68 points. Okay? So everything green in Asia, but Europe, like the U.S., mixed. The FTSE closed the session up 56 points. That's 0.75%. The DAX closed the session down 5 points, and the CAC closed the session down almost 17 points. The only mover and shaker there would be the FTSE. So mixed markets, with the exception of Asia, which is green wall to wall, and crude oil in the red, gold in the green. And as you can see from the chart I have up, and if you can't see the chart, go to the home page at cfrn.net. On the right hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions where it says watch live now, click it, and then you'll be registered through the end of the month. You'll get an email before each day's show, and you'll be able to join with one-click access. You can also go to youtube.com/CFRN, click live, and you'll be able to see the charts there and also access the chat box. Okay, I'm rolling this chart back to the Sunday night Globex Open. These are this week's zones, by the way. 53, 54, yep. So we spent the early part of the week just kind of bouncing off that 53, 54 zone, trying to get up to 63, 64. And we spiked 53, 54 and actually got down to 48, but it was short-lived. As you can see, it popped back up and closed inside the zone. We continued on until we finally broke the zone overhead, 63, 64. We consolidated there for about 2 hours. These are 30-minute candles. And then we had a buy on Tuesday night, 24.66, which took us up to 24.72. And today we hit the 24.75/76 zone, and we're immediately turned back down. And it looked like we were screaming down back to 63, 64. We didn't quite make it. Got right to that 24.66 area, turned back up, and then it's been just a little bit sideways ever since. There is one more weekly zone overhead. That's at 24.94/95. It's way up there. But tomorrow's Friday. Anything can happen. So for the week, we've covered 2 zones, which is better than some weeks. Some weeks here of late we've been stuck in 1 zone. So there you have it. That's what the S&P looks like for the day. Now, since the session opened at 9:30, right here, the move, we rallied into the open, and then did the big, and this was a fast move down on this 30-minute candle, and then it popped right back up. So definitely buyers here at 24.66, and resistance clearly at 76. So Michael, if you're ready, if you want to come in and give us a recap of what happened in the live training room today, that'd be wonderful.
I am ready.
Okay.
I am ready. As always. Here we go.
The dollar hit a 2-year low against the euro today after Draghi's comments.
Is that what happened today?
Draghi had he made some comments, some speech, whatever, and put the dollar at a 2-year low against the euro.
Yeah, the euro was running for a while there. It didn't seem to make any sense. They had that ECB conference, but that was at 8:30 in the morning. I didn't think it was still going to have an effect 2 hours later, unless somebody was talking outside the conference, which I imagine must be Draghi.
Could be. Could be. All right, let me hit mute, and I'll be here when you're done.
Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 20th day of July, 2017. If you have not taken a free trial with us, just go to the homepage at cfrn.net. And right up here at the top, there's a big banner that says sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial. User indicators on our strategy. Click here. When you click there, it brings you to this page. We need your first name and your email address. Click on register now, and that will take you, excuse me, and that will send you a confirmation link. Once you click on the confirmation link, then we will know that you took the trial, and we'll be able to send you everything you need to get into the live training room. Okay? Now, spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, excuse me, today is the 20th day of July. We made 14 ticks on the euro, 22 ticks on crude, and 10 ticks on gold. That is 407.50 gross. Today it took 22 minutes and a single trade to get to the goal for the day, and we took a total of 8 during the whole day. So on a month now, we're at 1957.50 over 12 days, averaging 163 per day. The year, 20,892 over 134 days, averaging 155 per day. That's one contract, 2 hours per day. Okay. Now let's get into what really happened here. On the gold, we shorted right there and took profit right there. That was where we got our goal for the day, plus 10 ticks. We missed a long right in here, another long right in there. We actually missed a continuation long right over here too, because that went on for a while there. So we missed the long there, we missed the long there, and then the cycle was going down too steep to go along in here. Okay. Let's see, during the break, there wasn't really anything here during the break. Okay, so that was it for the day on the gold. The euro was a little spastic today, a little crazy. And this is what I was talking about. On the euro, we got one on the first one, one on the second one. Then I think I don't have everything in here. Do I? Yeah, I do. Okay. We missed this one right here. We got 5 on this to put us at plus 7. Then 6 on this to put us at plus 13. And 1 here to put us at plus 14 on the morning. But you see in here, there was all this movement here on the euro. There was a trading opportunity right there that I missed, and right there that I missed. Okay. Then the cycle had to change. And it looks like right there that I missed. Okay. And obviously these ellipses here are the ones that I missed. There and there. I think that probably would have just been one trade. If we shorted it there, we'd have been holding on. Well, it would have been a momentum short, so stop would have gone to break even right away. Then this one right here, same thing. During the break, let's see, during the break, there was a shorting opportunity right here off the BBC, and another one right there. And that was it for the euro for this morning. Now, crude oil. Crude oil. Hang on. On the crude, we had just the one that we took. We missed that one, and that one. We got 22 ticks out of that, and we missed the follow-up right there. Let's see, let's back this out and see what happened during the break here. During the break, there was a long trade there that would have been a break even for me. A short right there. That gave some good opportunity. And that's about it during the break. Okay, so we ended plus 22 on one trade opportunity on the euro. On the soybeans, we did take one trade, but I forgot it was on. And I would have locked in a little profit probably here. But I forgot it was on, and then I moved my stop to break even and came back and took me out at break even. Now the soybeans were having a really hard time right here at this level. At the 26.75 level, if I remember right. Yeah, 3 times right here they bounced off this level. 4 times. And then finally I got through it. And so that gave a long opportunity here during the break. Right there. Okay, and the ES. I highlighted one spot on the ES right in here. That was a long opportunity. And I had to restart DT Pro during the day, during the session, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. But right here was the one long trade that I had highlighted during the break. Nothing at all during the break. Okay, so that was that. Now we'll go back to the spreadsheet, go over this one more time. Again, if you look at the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 20th day of July 2017, and 14 ticks in the euro, 22 ticks in crude, and 10 ticks in gold. That puts us at 407.50 total. Took us 22 minutes and 1 trade to get the goal for the day, and we took a total of 8 today. So on the month now, we're at 1957. That's over 12 days, averaging 163 per day. Now these numbers over here, I don't know if you guys see these numbers over there, or pay attention to them. But they are the net numbers. This is net with an $8 commission, and this is net with a $5 commission. Okay. If you scroll down here, this is the gross on the year, 20,892. That's over 134 days, averaging 155 per day. So that is that. Now, if you have not taken a free trial, then just go here to the homepage at CFRN.net. And up here at the very top, it says sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial. Use our indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. So if you click up there, and that will bring you right to this page that has, just ask your first name, your email address, and click register now. And click register now. Then you'll be sent a confirmation link. Does this one go to that page too? Yeah, it takes 2 clicks to get there that way though. And when you click register now, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that link, you will not be sent the information to take the free trial. But if you do click on it, then you will. And yes, John, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. All right, and that's that. With that, I am prepared to pass it back to Studio A, fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, overlooking country's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I am right here. Okay. I'll grab it in just a second.
Okay. I will be here. And I'm assuming you still want to split.
I'm going to send you an email that I started, and I'm going to ask you to finish it up.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get the charts.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that should just about do the trick. One more click. There we go. Okay.
There you go. I see the charts. Click on this.
Okay, we are back, and as you can see, price trying to work its way back up to that 75.76. Again, we've got one more weekly zone overhead at 94/95. Now that's basically 20 points away. Is it possible? Well, for many years, as I've reminded you, for many years the S&P had a daily range of 20 points from the low of the day to the high of the day, with all kind of hooks and crooks and bends in between the low and the high. Michael, if you're still there, what was the recap of the recap?
Today it took 22 minutes and one trade to get to $100 per contract. 22 minutes and one trade. 100 exactly.
Good job.
Thank you.
Gotta love it on those days when it happens in one trade.
Yes.
Doesn't always
Especially
happen
after the last.
in one trade, but it's always nice when it does. Okay. Let me just send you one more quick thing. Okay. All right. Back to the present. Okay. Let's take a look at some headlines and see what's going on. Of course, Marissa Mayer, the former Yahoo boss, is looking for work. She says she would like to be a CEO since she's done that before. Uber hasn't called yet, but she is rumored to be on a list of candidates that could replace Uber's CEO, Travis Kalanick, who stepped down with almost, I think all they have left are drivers. There's just been this mass exodus of management. I don't know who's left but the drivers. Intel has laid off its entire wearables division, which made its Base's smartwatch, which I'm not familiar with. The company is now shifting gears and focusing on augmented reality. That's the new big thing, AR, according to CNBC. Microsoft has built a smart thermostat called Glass, G-L-A-S, which is powered by its smart assistant, Cortana. I've never had a conversation with Cortana. I've got Cortana on one of these computers here. I'm going to have to try that someday. The thermostat may be more of a concept to show off how Cortana integrates into home appliances. Hackers, boy, those guys never sleep, do they? They have now run off with millions of dollars worth of the cryptocurrency Ethereum for the second time in a week. This time they made off with $32 million due to a critical vulnerability in a client for the virtual currency, according to Motherboard. $32 million gone. Now, based on what we understand about digital currency, I think we've all had a hard time wrapping our arms around the whole digital currency thing. But from what we do know about it, how does it up and disappear? See, that's the big question. Apple is giving its machine learning academics the opportunity to show off their research in a new online journal. The company has launched a machine learning blog which will show how the company uses the technology. And Elon Musk is pretty worried about this whole machine learning thing, this artificial intelligence, and he says the rest of us should be worried as well. Now, nobody's ever accused him of wearing a tinfoil hat. He hasn't. Everything he touches doesn't necessarily turn to gold. And the jury's still out on Tesla, even though it's got a healthy stock price. But, I mean, he's really concerned. He's formed a foundation along with Bill Gates, and I think Bezos might even be in on it, to make people aware that there's a line we can't cross. And I mean, once we go so far, it may not be up to us to decide whether we cross the line or not. In fact, computers have begun already to speak to each other in languages that we as humans don't understand. If you don't believe me, just Google it. Google computers speak to each other in languages we don't understand. Google that and you'll get a couple of articles popping up. SoftBank announced almost $500 million of investment in Silicon Valley and San Francisco startups. The company led a $200 million round into farm startup Plenty and a $159 million round into self-driving car startup Nauto, and a $114 million round into robotics startup BrainCorp. The self-driving car just doesn't seem to want to go away. And robotics, pretty soon when you go to your local McDonald's, you will be served by a robot. Okay, moving over to the music column. Reggaeton, which I'm guessing is a music genre, pop single Despacito has become the most streamed record of all time. Wow, that's got to be huge. After Justin Bieber released a remixed version with original artist Luis Fonsi and rapper Daddy Yankee, the single netted 4.6 billion plays in 6 months. Oh, it looks like John's with us. Let's switch over and give him an open mic. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Hello there, how you doing?
Good, glad to have you with us.
Thanks, glad to be here. Well, it's been a bit of a dramatic day today. We had this early shakeout, which was probably caused, well, it was partly caused by the European, just, saying they're going to continue this pumping of money ad infinitum, looks like till the end of the year at a minimum. And that caused the dollar to reverse back down. We were very lucky because we called the lows on the dollar yesterday, and we basically took about almost a point on the upside. And we had a sell stop in this morning right before this thing started. And unfortunately, literally minutes earlier, I'd put buy stops in on the gold and silver right at the lows after being short from 143 last night. Admittedly, it was a bit of a choppy run down, and then all of a sudden the gold just took off, and very impressive so far, because this is as long as we hold above this 1244 area, 1245, you've got a monthly doji of monumental proportions developing on this gold. And if it turns in, if we end up going a few, $10 or $20 higher into the end of the month, or even higher than that, we're on an express track up to 1300, as far as I can see. Everything's starting to fall into place. We're starting to see the gold stocks, performing better. The nugget got up to 31 on the 31.4 a short while ago. The JNUG is sort of trying to get through 18, and as I think I said on the show, we need a kind of a strong up day in these things to sort of get the trend going. And remember, it's Thursday today, so the fact that we're up as much as we are, and the fact that we're assuming we hold these gains for most of the day or even add to them, if we get a pullback tonight, somewhere between 8 and 10 Eastern time, somewhere like that. Or maybe we'll widen the window a bit and call it between 8 and midnight. And we see some sort of a bottom form like we did last week. I would grab it with both hands, and your overnight buys are probably going to trigger a higher buy and possibly come in, $10 higher tomorrow morning, which would be very good if we were able to do that. And you can see there's a sort of a upward flag developing on the chart. You've got it right now, right?
Yes.
I'd call that almost an upward running correction, actually. I mean, it's classic. That's a classic bull market.
This is the 30-minute chart right here, and then I just had the daily up. The daily, we're approaching a 50% retracement, a reverse fib from this swing high on June 6th down to this swing low July 10th, and then this area right across here. That's critical. If we can get above that and even get above this 62, 63, then there's really nothing in the way for it to run back up to 1300 again. We got
well, even better than that. Look at it. Let's say we go up to about 55 or 57, somewhere like that, and then come back a bit, maybe, and test the 40. What are we going to be doing? We're going to be putting in a massive head and shoulders bottom reversal.
Yep.
And then we break up through that 50%. And my next target is it's not 1300, it's higher. We're gonna, because I think you can see we're gonna just go straight up through that in a pretty meaningful way. And the gold is definitely acting well, and had a big surge in the grains today. The grains are back up. The commodities are looking good. The coffee is it's not giving much ground back from the gains that it's had all the way up, which is a pretty good classic sign of a bull market. The 30-minute chart you had up earlier on kind of looked very bullish the way it was sort of forming, especially if we don't give back too much on this little pullback here, and sort of break out above 1247. Later on today, maybe get up to 1249 or 50. That would be a pretty good day's work,
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, this move on soybeans, you just mentioned the grains. Last night our alert said to consider buying 1018, and we've hit 1031 today.
Yeah, good for you. No, great trade. Great trade.
That's
quite
a move.
The crude is a bit of a head scratcher. The news that came out was pretty bullish, a pretty big draw, and we did get the rally. Fortunately, we had our stops in this morning around 47, 45, and the rest of these things, and so we caught the downdraft on a sell short, I don't think it's going to go too much lower. In all honesty, I think this is just a kind of a pullback.
It looks like it's turning back up right here.
And I think if we get back up towards 47.5 again, it's going to take a shot at going up to 50. So the markets are pretty interesting. The pharmaceutical stocks are going gangbusters today. We got back into the LABU yesterday, somewhere around the 64 or 5 area, somewhere like that. And it's now 71. Fantastic move up since yesterday. And I think that's actually bodes well for the healthcare deal. In spite of all the drama, I think the odds are kind of increasing that they're going to get something done, because it's almost embarrassing that they're not. After what Trump said yesterday. Speaking of which, I just can't believe that this mainstream media have gotten in a tizzy over this meeting with Putin. It's so ridiculous. I mean, and everybody say, oh, it looks like Trump's like, we got to baby him and look after him and make sure we've got interpreters with him and all that nonsense. I mean, why can't the guy have a conversation with Putin, whether it's off the record or on the record? And he didn't. I mean, why do you think he didn't take an interpreter? Because they spoke English, for God's sake. Right. I mean, right. The only time Putin's or even Peña Nieto and these other, even the French guy wants to speak French. What a joke that is. It's all for show. It's all for the country. When they get together, they speak in English. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And look, Trump is he's not going to be intimidated by anybody. He's had a million meetings in his life, and with everybody from the highest of the high to the lowest of the low, and there's nothing phases this guy. I mean, when are they going to get the memo? And I think he's sort of. I mean, look, personally, I don't think the Wall Street or the New York Times interview. He probably got seduced into doing this interview by these reporters who said that they're going to do a nice job for him, and of course it's another hatchet job, as usual. And what is he interviewing this Maggie Haberman? I mean, she's poison. Like all these, 95% of all these people are poison. What the heck do you want to be talking to these people for? It's insane. You're gonna get tied up in knots, and there's no mileage in it. And bringing up all this stuff and then creating this stuff with sessions and everything. I mean, it's just like was really uncalled for, and it's unfortunate. But look, he's probably got his reasons for doing it. So,
what was his comment on Sessions? If I'd have known he was going to do that, I would have never hired him.
Kind of a little bit. Well, look, I mean, Trump was definitely went ballistic, when he recused himself without telling Trump first or running it by him. And I think that was a monumental error on Sessions' part, because the whole thing went to hell in a handbasket, and it's you got this council and everything, and it's just such a disaster. It's terrible. But it is what it is, and I think Trump didn't have to. I mean, why go out and say, "Don't touch my finances"? I mean, you're practically begging them to do that if you say that. It kind of reminds me of Prince Al Walid saying, "I'll never sell my Citigroup stock of $54 a share," right before it got the biggest mauling of its life, by the bears down to 65 cents or something. It's so stupid to bait the media because I think that, to be fair to Trump, I think the reason why he is reacting the way he is because he's 100% innocent. There's nothing going on with this Russian thing. It's all a lot of nonsense, and it's really eating him up because of that. But it seems like in the last few days he's sort of thrown caution to the wind, and he just doesn't care. He says, look, there's no way they're going to get him out of office. I said that a long time ago. They can try all they want, but there's no way. At the end of the day, the biggest. Personally, for me, the biggest disappointment is half. I think if Trump hadn't got elected, McCain would not have been reelected. And by the way, I hope he gets better.
We talked about that at the top of the show. He went through a bout with skin cancer a number of years ago and recovered from that.
Yeah, look, I had the same thing happen to me about a couple of weeks ago. I got a kind of a thing started in my temple area, and I've got a friend of mine had this sort of cancerous salve, and it was quite old, but I used it, and it actually has the whole thing fell off last night, thank God. And it sort of seems to have cured, it's a really good stuff, this and it really does work on skin cancer.
But what's it called?
And it's just a potion, it's made up, it's a concoction. A friend of mine in Texas had it, and I saw some pictures of some tremendous pictures of people with all kinds of horrible cancers, and the stuff really works. It's amazing. So it's a little bit painful, and for a while I wasn't sure whether it was working because it kind of was a little bit inflamed, and it felt a little bit tricky. But I think pretty relieved, to tell you the truth, since this happened. So,
Absolutely.
but no, I think look, a lot of these Republicans. I mean, look, Trump energized the Republican Party. I mean, in spite of all the, he got more votes than anybody in the history of the Republican Party as president. He won more counties than anybody since Reagan. I mean, it was a landslide victory by that measure. And the Republicans, listen, the Republicans who kind of went against Trump, they lost. Remember? A couple of them who sort of didn't. He absolutely, there's a loyalty. I mean, I'm disgusted that and Trump's right. I mean, they voted this thing 68 times or something, and they can't get their act together now. It's an absolute disgrace. But the real story is, I mean, this is the problem. The Democrats can go, the skullduggery that Obama, and the lengths of skullduggery that Obama went to ram this thing through and stick it to the poorer section of the population in a way that is just total. It's not un-American. It's an absolute ripoff, where these poor people who haven't got $2 to rub together, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they had to pay a couple of $100 or $200, $300, $400 fine because they couldn't afford insurance. I mean, give me a break. That is absolutely disgusting, and they should be shouting that from the rooftops as to what a ripoff it is. 6 million people paid $3 billion in penalties. I mean, that is, Obama should be put in jail for doing that. I mean, it's just terrible. Absolutely, it's just incredible that ever happened.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane. And then the other thing is, the 10 million. They were expecting, like, remember how it never got going, and there was just listen. They never got the sign-ups. There's not enough players in the game to support the Obamacare, but they're not getting that memo across. And there's a 10 million shortfall, 10 million person shortfall. So the whole thing is it's a wash. That's why it's imploding. In a way, I think actually the Australian system sounds like it would be it would be a great way to put that system into place here. And secondly, if they don't do that, just have a totally, just go all out and give the free service, to everybody. Just, because at the end of the day, every citizen deserves it.
Well, I agree. The question is, will the doctors stay around and work for that wage? Will kids continue to go to medical school? I don't know.
Well, look, if you know any doctors, then there's no fans for Obamacare among any medics, because
absolutely no.
they've been just, these guys, their incomes have been cut in half or divided by 3 or 4. I mean, it's terrible for them. So it's just a disaster everywhere. But the Democrats are, everybody's sort of like praising this Obama, kind of like the greatest things ever invented, and it's the exact opposite. It's a total disaster. But they're not getting the key points across as to why it's a disaster and why it's been a failure from day one, because it's never gotten the traction. It's plain and simple. Doesn't have the body count to make it work. And it never will have, because there isn't. Right now there isn't the affordability. You're putting the thing is out of it's beyond the affordability of anybody except guys like you, who are in your kind of bracket, or small businesses and that, who are paying ridiculous fees monthly for insurance. And these huge waivers and everything. It's really like throwing money down the toilet. It really is. It's just terrible.
Like I said, most people in Arizona pay more for health insurance than they do for their mortgage. So unless you qualify for the for the reduced price Obamacare thing. You see this news from Sears that came out today?
What? No, I saw the stock went up in the morning. What happened?
The company announced plans to start selling its Kenmore branded appliances, such as refrigerators, dishwashers, and washing machines, on Amazon.
Yeah,
the deal
I thought
will
you were gonna
lead
say that.
to the broadest distribution of Kenmore products outside Sears stores, and it should give the company access to new customers and revenue. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. Sears stock price soared more than 20% early Thursday following the news. Well, with all the malls closing and the stores closing, this may be the way brands like Sears and JCPenney ultimately survive, is by putting their products, taking them out of the mall and putting them on Amazon.
Pretty incredible, pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah. The company Sears has been battling declining traffic and sales for years, leading the company to close hundreds of locations across the U.S. They plan to close more than 300 locations this year, bringing the store count below 1,140. Just 5 years ago, they had 2,073 stores. The decision to sell Kenmore on Amazon is likely to prompt even more stores to close. This is consistent with Sears' aim of becoming more of a remote seller of strong brands without the encumbrance of expensive real estate. Yeah, this may be the beginning of a trend here. It really may be. I just don't know who is, now the big question is, who's going to figure out how to put these empty malls to use? Who's going to come up with a good way to utilize that real estate that's just sitting there, and it's going to go cheap. It's going to hit the commercial real estate market hard. If they were in Iceland, they could just turn them into server farms, but many of them are, in the desert, in Phoenix and Nevada, and who knows where, who knows which one will close next, but they expect something like 500 malls to close across the U.S. this year.
That's a big deal.
It really is.
That's a big deal.
It really is.
And it's got a lot of layoffs. A lot of. I mean, the HEB. I didn't know this, but HEB, the supermarket chain, they're the biggest employer in Texas.
What stores do they run? HEB.
HEB.
They don't have that in Arizona.
No, it's a chain of it's like a Walmart. It's better. It's better than a Walmart. In terms, it's a little bit more up market, but it's a full service store that carries just about everything. But it's big in food, big in groceries and things. So. But there's, that just shows you. I mean, if the malls are shutting down, then some of these big stores are going to be affected too.
Oh yeah, because each one of these malls has a large anchor tenant, usually a Sears or JCPenney or some big name. Up to 25% of U.S. shopping malls may close in the next 5 years.
Yeah. Well, just to give you an example, I had to get I had to get the one of these backup things for the computer. UPS, is it? USP?
UPS.
And UPS, and that big day on Amazon. I think they had a discount on it at around about $135 for a 1500 volt, or the 1500 one with 12 sockets. I thought that was a pretty good deal, and it was like they're in in a day or two. It's just amazing, So the service is really top notch at Amazon. They don't seem to have too many, screw ups either. You don't hear that about things like that with Amazon. The return policy is very good. Send something back. It's no big deal. What else is going on today?
Well, the dollar is at a 2-year low against the euro. Draghi had a speech this morning.
That's the big story. And, after having that, and you have that rally, basically rally, it came up and tested in the 95, because that's an area that we broke through, right? It was a big support area. And guess what? It got knocked down to new lows. Generally speaking, that's a very bad sign for for lower prices. The surprise is that the bonds have rallied back up again, up to 54, especially you saw the employment numbers this morning, the claims, down 15,000, down to sort of new lows. That was a little bit of a surprise, the way the bonds went up the way they did. This might be about as far as they're going to go. If they start turning down again, then we could possibly see a lower dollar with lower bonds again. Could be the next sort of put gasoline on the fire for the stock market. We're sort of in this a bit of a choppy range after a big run here in the last week or so in the market.
We have no high impact news tomorrow either to move the markets.
So. By the way, guess what? Yesterday, Dwayne, it was the 19th of July, right?
Right.
It's the 10-year anniversary since remember the day we closed at a palindrome at 14,000.41. And that was a new all-time high. Remember I said it was like the traders on the floor trying to prop it up, so that was because it was the first close ever over 14,000. And they managed to close it at 14,000.41. So it's read the same backwards and forwards.
Gotcha.
And what reminded me of that was I was reading last night, do you know the last week, every single day, apparently, if it's like 7, 10, 17, it reads the same backwards and forwards, right? So it was kind of like a palindrome week.
Huh.
And that made me put out a cautionary alert saying be careful, because right after this palindrome thing that happened, it was literally the next day. That was a Friday, and the next day was a Monday, and it went down from the opening, the market. And you know how much it went down percentage-wise? It went down 10.5% from July the 19th to August the 16th. And on August the 16th, if you go back and look at the chart, you'll see there's a huge spike on it, and on the S&P. And right on this show, for the benefit of all those who are listening, we not only nailed the highs in July, but we nailed the lows. Within 2 points of the S&P. We were long and covered our shorts and reversed long for the big rally upwards, which turned out to be a big one, all the way up to November. And we also went long gold that day, if you remember, for the first time it ran up to 1,000 from that bot. We were around 600 that day, I think, somewhere like we were in the 600s, and we had a massive rally right up to almost 1,000, I think, off that bottom. So that was really a sensational call that we made at that time, and kind of brought it back to me yesterday. And today is July the 20th, 1969. First man on the moon, Neil Armstrong. It was a great day for the world. So, well, look, there's a little bit of a pullback going on, but I think the markets are going to probably keep going higher before the day's out. They seem to be holding, unless we break down here right now. As long as we don't break down any further, I think we're kind of holding in okay. Google is not acting very well today, which is a bit of a problem. And the FANGs in general are kind of in a hold mode, hold mode. But the pharmaceutical stocks are acting extremely well today. And by the way, Twitter, remember we've been talking about Twitter periodically all the way since it was like 14 or something, or even lower. And it's I actually said it might go to 21 today, and I think it got to just shy of 21, 2085. I honestly think Twitter could go into the mid-20s here in the next few weeks. They're probably going to surprise on the upside with their earnings. Also, I think Snap is getting close to being a buy down here for another shot. It's getting... it's actually started to rally a little bit already. Put a buy on it a while ago at about 1480, 83 or something like that. It's trying to rally. It might still be a little bit under pressure, but I think we'll see. We caught one rally up to 15 and sold it, and it went back down, and we're just taking another shot at it now. I think Snap is turning down in this general area.
You know, I'll never get over this country's obsession with O.J. Simpson. Not only did they televise that trial many years ago, which was really the first time they'd ever done that, his parole hearing, which is today, which is starting right now at 1 o'clock Eastern, is being televised. Whose parole hearing has ever been televised before? But it is. And they say that, I'm just reading a lot of these comments here, a lot of people think that he could walk out a free man. And the guy the whole reason that he's locked up right now, the guy that he was there to take back his memorabilia from is testifying on his behalf. So, pretty strange.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Mm-hmm.
That's unusual. You know, look, I think considering some people, I'd be pretty surprised if they don't let him out. But he might have to spend a few more years at it. We'll see.
Yeah. This guy's caught a lot of breaks, and I think everybody, I think the consensus in that whole thing that happened before is that he got off, but I don't think anybody doubted his guilt. So who knows? Right.
Okie doke. Well, listen. Thanks very much for the invite.
Thank you, John. Appreciate
Talk to you again
you.
tomorrow.
Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Okay.
Likewise. Thanks for the invite. Bye.
Guys, tomorrow, I believe, Robin Dane is going to join us for a little chat. For those of you that don't remember Robin, maybe you're new to the audience, she was our trading psychologist. She doesn't have a psychologist degree, but she has worked as a coach for a lot of several trading firms in New York, some big names, and she'll tell you about that. She's led just a very interesting life. She used to be with us on a daily basis for a long time, but we kind of lost touch over the last, probably a couple of years. She's going to pop in tomorrow, and then I think she's going to do a webinar Monday afternoon. And during that webinar, you'll be able to find out about her classes and what she teaches and how it can help you with your trading. So by all means, be here tomorrow. On the S&P last night, we didn't get a trigger on the long or the short side. On the Dow, we had a 14-point move up and another 14-point move up. We had a 35-point move down and a 26 right here, 26-point move down. And on the soybeans, we ran up 13 points from 1018 to 1031 and a quarter. So that would actually be 13.25, but 13 points at $50 per point. The beans, of course, pay exactly the same as the S&P, $50 per point, $12.50 per tick, 4 ticks to the point. Bonds, 154.05, and the swing high took us up 16 ticks at $50 per tick. Not point, but tick. There we go. Yeah. And also, what else did we have? Crude oil had a move to the upside from 47.55 up to 190, $190 per contract available. And on gold, the alert last night said to consider selling 1238. There was a $100 move down. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. $200 move down. And then it pulled back up. Didn't quite get back above the trigger. Okay. Now, if you stayed in this trade, it actually made $340 per contract available. But if you were trailing a tight stop, then you were taken out here and you never really got triggered back in. But then there's another $100 move down right here. And then 200 on the upside, back below the trigger for another move up 200. That's 200 plus 220. Now we never get out at the swing high or the swing low. Why? Well, pretty simple. Pretty simple. We trail our stop. So that means we're always going to leave a little something on the table. And that's something you have to get used to. Whether you're trading to a fixed target or trailing your stop or a combination of the two, you will almost always leave a little something on the table. Okay? Okay. So, Robin Dane tomorrow, and then she'll have a webinar Monday afternoon, and she'll give you details on how to access the webinar when she drops in to visit with us for a bit tomorrow. Tonight is Partners Workshop, so if you are a CFRN partner, we'll see you tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Remember, you can email your questions in ahead of time. Everything that's been emailed in, we try to get those answered first. Then we open up the floor for discussion and cover any questions that anyone has who is in the workshop. If you've been on a trial this past week, if you want to be in the workshop tonight, you do need to become a partner. Michael has probably sent you an email or two that explains what it takes to become a partner. If you did not get the email, if you need more information, give us a call, 949-423-6464. 949-423-6464, or as I like to say, 949-42-EMINI. That's right, 949-42-EMINI. Okay, and let's see. Oh, you can also email support@cfrn.net. Otherwise, I'll see you tonight. Thanks for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.